Hey guys, YouTuber 100 here. Alright, now here I am with another classic monster movie review. And here I am with a review for The Wolfman. So, yeah, this was like a really good movie right here. Yeah, I could probably call this a great movie if this was like a little longer. But yeah, this movie is like relatively short. It's only about like 70 minutes. But yeah, for the 70 minutes that it lasts, it is like a pretty good movie. I mean, yeah, the story for this film, the tale that this tells is pretty much like, the story. It's pretty much just the tale of werewolves, of a werewolf. Yeah, it's basically just, yeah, someone like just, like, man turns into like a werewolf and just becomes a real ferocious creature, really. And yeah, but yeah, despite the title of this, there's really not a whole lot of like the actual wolf man in this movie. If you the wolf man like in this film is probably like only like on screen for like maybe like up to 20 minutes in this movie. So yeah, we don't really like see like that much of the actual wolf man in this movie. But I am willing to like overlook it because this movie is really kind of looked at as an origin story for like the Wolfman. Because yeah, in this film, like it just shows like he's bitten by another werewolf. Wolf, and yeah, he doesn't really learn that he has like really become a werewolf until like probably at least 40 minutes into the film, and so then yeah, that's when he like changes, finally does become a werewolf and stuff. So yeah, we really don't see like a whole bunch of the Wolfman in this film, but yeah, it makes sense because this really is like an origin story, and yeah, they would like make like some sequels to this film later on also. So where we would get to see like more of the Wolfman. So yeah, I'm willing to overlook the very like limited time that the Wolfman actually has in this film. And yeah, I really do like that this it really is like an origin story for the Wolfman, because yeah, we actually do like I do like that we actually do get to like see like he really does like he isn't really like a huge monster like a lot of these other characters are, like Dracula and Frankenstein and stuff. And because we with Dracula, like we really like it really is never like touched upon or really explained how he really did become a vampire or like why he is a vampire or anything. It's just like we see him and he's just a vampire and that's it. He's just a vampire, and yeah, it's never really explained why he is one. In Frankenstein with the monster, we like do see like he's just created by the doctor. So yeah, he really is just like born a monster, really. Yeah. With the mummy, we do kind of learn about his origins, how he did become a mummy, but yeah, we really don't like find that out until like the second half of that movie. Yeah, as the movie starts, he already is a mummy, so we really don't like really learn anything about him. Like once the movie starts, and like we just like start off with him being a mummy. So yeah, we do kind of get a little bit of like backstory of how he did become a mummy, but yeah, it's really like not learned until like the around like the past the halfway point of that movie. Yeah, and the Invisible Man. Well, it is like slightly like explain how he did become invisible. Like this entire movie really is just like already him being invisible. So yeah, we don't really get to see really any of that. But with this, like it actually starts off with a normal man, and he ends up like getting bitten, and then that's how he really does like become a werewolf. Yeah, it's basically kind of like a superhero origins thing. How he really does like start off as just a normal person, but like he ends up like getting bitten by a werewolf, and then he becomes one himself. So I do like that. This really is kind of like a different kind of turn. How we actually do kind of learn how he did become a werewolf and stuff. Yeah. And yeah, this movie does have a pretty good cast. Movie, of course, like stars Lon Chaney Jr. as like the main character of the film, Larry Talbot, who eventually becomes the Wolfman. And yeah, he's really good in this film. And yeah, everybody else in this film is also pretty good. You have Claude Rains, Warren William, Ralph Bellamy, Maria Aus Auspenskaya, is that how it's said? Evelyn Anchors, and yeah, of course, like we also have like a Bela Lugosi appearing in this film also. And so yeah, we just have a pretty good cast for this film. Yeah, they're all like pretty good in this film. And yeah, the story for this is really good, especially like acting as an origin story. Yeah, and yeah. Yeah, like I said earlier, yeah, this film like did end up spawning like some sequels afterwards where we would get to see like more of the Wolfman. So yeah, I'm willing to like overlook that we don't really like see very much of the actual Wolfman in this film. Because yeah, it is looked at as an origins, and we would get to see more of him later on. Yeah, and of course they also like made that remake for this film like from 2010, which really did like really suck. I mean, that really was not a good film. And I've heard now that they're like trying to reboot this film as well. Well, and yeah, they're like doing this in like a dark universe, I guess, like kind of how like this year's Mummy remake was. And they're also doing the same thing with the Invisible Man, with Johnny Depp will be the Invisible Man in that movie. So that sounds pretty interesting. So yeah, I'm not sure like how much of these they're gonna do. And yeah, I guess like there's also like reports that they may get The Rock to star as the Wolfman in the re this reboot movie that they're making. But yeah, who knows? That could change later on. Yeah, but yeah, they're doing. I guess they're doing a reboot for this film. So yeah, I guess like we'll just have to see how that turns out. But yeah, this film overall, it is like a really good film. I would give this film probably 3.5 stars out of 4. I mean, if it was like a longer film, I probably could rate this higher. But yeah, just because like once again, it is a relatively short film, kind of like how it is with like some of the other movies that I've reviewed for these monster films. Yeah, I just kind of have to give it like a 3.5 star rating out of 4. All right, so yeah, let me just get right into it. All right. So the movie is set sometime in like the early 20th century, and Larry Talbot is like visiting his like father in Wales, and apparently like his brother had recently died, and so he's just there to like visit his father and stuff. And Larry eventually like ends up like like meeting this girl Gwen Conliffe. And yeah, it turned out that like she's running an antique shop up, and then yeah, Larry eventually ended up like visiting her in that shop, and yeah, he's basically like trying to like just have a conversation with her, and yeah, of course like he's basically like trying to like hook up with her and stuff, like get her to love him and everything, yeah. And he ends up like buying a like silver-headed walking stick, which has like a wolf as the head for it. Yeah. And yeah, it turned apparently like that wolf head is actually like representing the werewolf, and yeah. And like for some reason, Larry didn't actually know what a werewolf was. I mean, who doesn't know what a werewolf is? Yeah. And yeah, she just ends up like explaining what a werewolf was to Larry, just a man who changes into a wolf at certain times of the year. Yeah, they do. They have the werewolf thing, like when they transform into a werewolf, kind of differently. You know how it's usually like someone turns into a werewolf whenever there's a full moon? Yeah. In this film, yeah, they just have it be like a change at certain times of the year, because yeah, in this movie, it never actually does like show that Larry like ends up like changing into the Wolfman when there is a full moon out. Like that's not the case in this film. They never actually have it be that. He just changes at certain points. Yeah. And later that night, Larry just ends up like taking a walk with Gwen just to talk with each other, and like it turned out that one of Gwen's friends, Jenny, joins them also, and they just end up like paying a visit to a gypsy who is named Bella, who is also played by Bella Lugosi, which yeah, I guess that's creative. Yeah, and yeah, first like Bella was like just talking to Jenny, trying to see her fortune and stuff. Yeah. But then like he was Bella was then like starting to kind of act strange, and then he was just telling Jenny that he couldn't say anything to her that night, that she should come back tomorrow, and then he was just like yelling at her to go, and then yeah, Jenny was just then running off, and then like there was then this unusual noise that Larry and Gwen heard, and then they heard like Jenny screaming, so Larry went to try to save Jenny, and it showed that Jenny was then being attacked by a wolf, and then yeah, Larry then like was attacking the wolf to try to save Jenny, and in the process, the wolf ended up like biting Larry in the chest, but then yeah, Larry eventually ended up killing the wolf by attacking it with his stick. Yeah, but then like Larry then just ended up like just collapsing, and then like Gwen and Bella's mother, who was like another gypsy fortune teller, Maleva, or however that's said, find him, and then they like end up taking mm, Larry back home. And once they arrived back home, it then was just like Larry's father and like the colonel, well, Paul Montford, just then like saw that Larry had been like just was exhausted and bitten and stuff, and yeah, Gwen just then like told them what happened and stuff. Yeah. Then the next morning, like Larry was told that like Bella was dead, and they found his walking stick next to him, and Larry it turned out that like Larry's bite mark had now like healed and stuff, and then like Larry was like accused of killing Bella, but yeah, Larry was telling them that he did kill a wolf. Yeah. And then yeah, Larry just then was then being blamed for the death of Bella. He was just being accused by like a lot of villagers that he had killed Bella. Yeah. And eventually, like later on, in like a park, like some kind of like show or something, in like the the gypsy camp or something, and like Maleva then just like was telling Larry that that wolf that he killed was actually Bella, and Bella was a werewolf. But Larry like was just trying to tell her that it was just a wolf he killed. He still believed that it was only a wolf he killed. But and then yeah, Maleva was then telling Larry that since he was bitten by a werewolf, by the werewolf, that he would end up becoming a werewolf too. And then yeah, she gave him like a charm to wear over his heart, and she said that it has the symbol of the werewolf, and that it could actually break the evil spell and stuff. Yeah, yeah. And then after Larry had left, he then like was telling Gwen about what Maleva had told him, and he just then gave the charm to Gwen to protect her. Yeah. And then once Larry went home, then like he like was feeling some changes to his body, and then it was then like showing that his legs and feet were becoming like more hairy. They were like growing a lot more hair, and then it just showed like his feet then like changed into like wolf feet, and then yeah, then like ended up then like showing that Larry had like transformed into a werewolf now, and then it showed that he was just like stalking outside of the village, and he ended up like killing a grave digger. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, then like showed them like the village was like really like afraid because they knew that there was a werewolf in the village and stuff. Yeah, and like when Larry like was transformed back into his human form, like a lot, just like a lot of everybody else who like is a werewolf, he had like no recollection of what he did when he was a werewolf and stuff. But then like once like people told him like what had happened, like there was a wolf around and stuff, then that's when like Larry realized what he had actually done as a werewolf. And then yeah, it, yeah, and then eventually like Larry was then just like starting to tell people the things that he was doing. He then like was telling Gwen that he's the one that killed Bella as well as the gravedigger, and then he eventually ended up like telling his father about it. But yeah, his father then like was just trying to tell Larry that it none of that is true and stuff. Yeah, and like was just showing the police out looking for the werewolf and stuff, and Larry knew, of course, that they were looking for him. Yeah, and so then yeah, Larry's father like ended up like strapping him down to a chair so he couldn't get to anyone, and then yeah, he then like went out looking for the wolf, and Larry just told him to take his walking stick with him, which he did, yeah. But then, yeah, it then like showed then there were like police out looking for him, and yeah, Gwen was also out looking for Larry also, yeah. And then yeah, it then showed then like the Wolfman was out in the village again, and then yeah, it then just like showed the Wolfman then like started to attack Gwen, but then yeah, Larry's father then arrived, and then yeah, the Wolfman tried to go after him, but then yeah, Larry's father then just ended up beating the Wolfman to death with the stick. Yeah, and as the Wolfman then was just like lying there dead, Maleva arrived, and yeah, she just like was reciting a spell. Then it transformed him back into Larry. Yeah, turned Larry back into his human form, and then yeah, his father then like just was like in horror. He just couldn't believe what he had seen. And then yeah, Gwen also saw what had happened, and yeah, she was really upset about it. And then once the police arrived and they saw Larry's dead body, they then just came to the conclusion that the wolf was attacking Gwen, and then Larry had like come to save her, but the werewolf had killed Larry also, and that's how it ended. So yeah, I guess it ended on a good note that really like the made Larry kind of like look like a hero when he died, and yeah, the police really didn't figure out that he was the Wolfman. So yeah, an interesting way to end it there. And like I said, like this would like lead to like some future sequels. So yeah, I guess like it's not really like that upsetting that we really didn't see how much of the Wolfman in this film, because like we would see more of him in sequels. So yeah, it's really like yeah, I'm really not that bothered that we don't see too much of him in this movie. And yeah, it is still like a really good movie. Like I said, 3.5 stars out of 4. If it was like longer, I probably could have given it more, but yeah, just because of its short running time overall, that's why I just kind of like stick it to 3.5 stars. But yeah, still a good movie. So yeah, if you haven't seen this before, I definitely would recommend it. Yeah, it is definitely like, despite it being a very short movie, it is still worth a watch. Alright, so yeah, that does it for my review of The Wolf Man. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.